Hello.
Hi. Oh, sorry, I'm sweaty. I was working out for the
Oh,
first time.
nice.
It's finally cooled down here so that I could work out in the garage. It's been so hot. I just can't motivate myself to get on a treadmill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And treadmill is your preferred workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just put together a rowing machine not too long ago. So I do like 40 minutes on the treadmill and then I'm working my way up. So far, I'm at about 15 or 20 minutes on the
Oh,
rowing
that's
machine.
good. That's good.
Um, yeah, I have to work on my form too. But so it's a really good workout though. I'm really
Oh,
pleased with
yeah.
hoping that my shoulders will be buff soon.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, so it felt good. Gosh. And it feels, I was so happy when I woke up this morning that I could just leave the front door open. It's that cool. Yeah.
Oh,
How was your
good.
day? Have you been
Oh,
busy?
I'm, yeah. Long day. Started off with a meeting with my CEO at 7:30, and my boss had just gotten back from 2 weeks vacation. So that means you have to back up. This is the boss that was undermined me.
Oh,
So of course I had to brief him, before we met with the CEO. And then my internet provider seemed to be having like a blink off every 20 minutes. That had never happened. So I'm like in the middle of this important call with my CEO and it kept going off and I'd be like getting on my phone and and then it would come back on and stuff. So I ended up driving to the office to be here because I was leading a all staff town hall today and I was like, that would not be good to blink out. Yeah, so I think that just kind of put like a wrench in my day. I wasn't planning to spend that time. So now I'm
yeah.
just trying to finish up my work before I leave. Um,
Yeah.
Fun
yeah,
times. How is that
yeah.
asshole boss?
Well, he's back from vacation.
Still an asshole?
Um, I mean, I don't know if I can't remember if I told you that he did apologize to me.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, he did apologize.
How did the apology come out?
Basically the next time we talked, he apologized in the
Oh,
conversation. Not, I mean, I was clearly still pissed off about it. He apologized. And it was an okay apology. I don't know.
Yeah, I always,
you don't sound convinced.
yeah, I'm wondering you don't think he was as sincere as you would have liked him to be?
I think it's just more like I really don't have a great amount of confidence or admiration for the senior leadership of the agency I'm working for. And so it just kind of runs you down.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
And particularly when you're kind of busting your butt on all these, I'm involved in all this organizational change and all of this kind of stuff. So if you're not I mean, if you're kind of inspired by your colleagues and the people who are in the agency or doing good work, that's kind of what sustains me. But when you're uninspired by your leadership,
Mhm.
yeah. So
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
very,
especially if you're doing that much important work, right? And then to be undermined and for them not
mhm,
to understand that
mhm,
that's what they're doing is just really,
mhm, mhm.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
frustrating to say the least.
yeah. We'll see. I go through cycles of being like, sure, I can, I can handle this job. I mean, the good parts of it is I know how to do my job. I'm pretty good at it. I get a salary. I don't really want to organize another job hunt. I've always thought I would have some kind of a career change. I'm not in a place where I'm willing to spend the time doing that right now. So we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah, that's a big effort to do
It's a
something like,
huge effort. Yeah.
and it can take years for it actually to pan out the way that you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just got finished watching Kevin, who's 31, switch from the film industry, which he found to be very just degrading. you know, that you
Yeah.
don't make money, you work very long hours. And the work that he'd been doing before the pandemic was with a company called Buddha Jones that makes all those big fancy film trailers that you see in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you know, when the pandemic hit and movie theater, everything was shutting down, he was laid off from his job, and it was perfect timing though, because he wanted to come home to Portland. I mean, he didn't want to come home in April. He was planning on coming home in the fall, but he wanted to make a job change to get out of the film industry. And it took him almost a year to be able to find what he wanted, had a lot of interviews. And now he's working as a Nike contractor in their global branding
Right.
division, where he's doing, basically, it's like, it seems, I mean, to simplify it greatly, it's almost like quality control of the photo images from shoots that are all around the world for their product. And,
Yeah, I
and he-
remember you telling me about that, and I'm like, wait, they employ somebody in the States to do that?
yeah, they have a big team.
Yeah.
Kevin works with a whole bunch of other people. I mean, they're all working remotely, so I'm not sure where everybody
Where
is.
everybody sits, right?
Yeah, but he's been really happy with it, and he feels like it was a good, you know,
Yeah.
a way he could use the skills that he acquired in the film industry. So, but it was an ordeal, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I had a job hunt when I unexpectedly came back to the United States, or unplanned came back to the United States, it was hard. It was a full-time job on its own.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm fortunate that kind of in my career prior to that, I'd had, you know, I was just on a trajectory where things worked out pretty easily. You know, I was in the right place at the right time most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'll go back. You guys remember I was in a career group, and so with my friend Stacy, who you met at the block party. So we're going to start that again in a couple of weeks, and we'll see.
Oh, good.
We get some more traction on that. Yeah. So that's good. And meanwhile, I don't know if I've talked about the work I've been doing with the mutual aid in my neighborhood, but I've started, we've got a huge mutual aid, bigger even than I thought it was. It's probably around 400 volunteers, and
Wow.
they collect and redistribute groceries and cash. I think they provide, we, because now I'm a part of it, we provide groceries to around 300 families every week.
Wow.
And then hot meals twice a week to about 120 homeless neighbors. So it's big. And like the groceries we provide, people can either walk up and get what they want. They can come in and pick, you know, what they want. Or I think it's up to 50 households every week can order groceries for delivery. And so you can kind of get the basic, you know, a half gallon of milk, 6 eggs, whatever the protein is, a pound or whatever of ground beef. But people also can ask for, you know, canned goods, shampoo, cleaning supplies, diapers. We must have some relationship with a place that gives us fresh produce, because they get a big thing of fresh produce. So it's pretty incredible. I mean, I've been for the last 2 Saturdays, and they're shifts of people who, one shift is 2.5 hours, and you have 2 people who are just like packing up the groceries, one person kind of manning the door to take people, like they come in and mark off what they want on a piece of paper, and people run and pack it for them and they walk away. And then there's these other orders that come in through email, so we also pack those up. And then every 15 minutes, somebody shows up in a car, a volunteer, and packs up 4 households' groceries and goes and delivers them. And there's a whole infrastructure where there's like the mappers every week that take like the 50 addresses that come in for the requests and put them into bunches of 4, so that,
Oh God, that's so
you know, you
much.
get a route that's close by to each other rather than like everybody
Yes.
driving all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like the purchasers, like there's a guy who just does, they give out $15 Walmart gift cards. So every week he like goes and waits in line and gets the gift cards, and I don't know, there's like the egg guy and so starting to meet all these people. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing it only a couple hours a week, like a half day a week, but I'm trying to kind of cycle through all of the jobs because I've been doing the volunteer orientation. So kind of being able to tell people like, what's the job? How do you sign up? Who orients you? Those kinds of things. But yeah, and the meals for the homeless, I mean, people cook meals and pre-package them, and 120 meals show up at this church twice a week,
Wow.
and then about 10 volunteers run it, handing it out. And one of the cool things is that they employ people who I think are mostly beneficiaries of mutual aid. If you work as a volunteer at the homeless meal handout, you get a $15 Walmart gift card if you want to accept it. So I would say the day I went there, like half the people who were behind the tables handing stuff out were people who were like, yeah, I want that. I came because I want that gift card. They showed up to volunteer. But then we get like more Spanish speakers, Amharic speakers who are in that group. So I just can't believe that all of this is volunteer organized.
That's pretty amazing. Seems like
Yeah.
a really big, complicated machine.
It is nuts. And I mean, I think there definitely are people who are like really literally on the edge of burnout who've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic. And of course, like any volunteer system, like, there's a wonky Airtable, and there's, Slack, like there's a million different like mushrooming technologies that people are using to keep things organized. So it kind of needs like a full overhaul of all of its technologies, but it's mostly young people. I would say average age is maybe 30 in this group. It's not a bunch of older do-gooders.
And did you say this covers the area of your neighborhood perimeter, or is this greater DC?
It covers my ward. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything in DC is ward based, right?
How many people do you think are in your ward?
Oh, I can probably look it up real quick. A couple 100,000.
That's
Wow.
We're big. We're one of the bigger wards in DC.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really rewarding what you're doing.
Yeah, there's a whole clothing thing too, a crazy clothing thing where people, I mean, they get in these clothing donations, and then they sort them like literally into paper bags where it's like, size 2T, 3T, 4T, whatever. And so when people say I need toddlers clothing, then you just like pick up one of those bags, give it to them. I was wondering how they were handling the gender thing, because I could imagine that in this group being like, oh, we don't want to make any assumptions about the pink skirt is for girls or whatever. So
yeah, I always hated that. I really did.
I'm sure that this group would be like, I'm guessing I had nothing to do with the clothes, except that I had a couple of people who asked for bundles. So, you just go and grab the bag that somebody had sorted, I guess.
Yeah, Emily wore a lot of blue hand-me-downs. And she looked really good in blue, much better than she did in pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have I mean, honestly, I remember as a kid being super duper irritated that I was supposed to play with dolls.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play with Matchbox cars in the dirt. That was way more fun than dressing up.
Anyway, so that's been kind of my outlet lately.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Doing that stuff.
But a lot of work, man. Jeez.
That is a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of why I moved, not mutual aid, specifically, but I moved into the district to kind of be more proximate to my neighbors. And this is a good way to get engaged. And it definitely is, framed as redistribution of resources, not charity. So we are redistributing resources.
Yeah.
You must have met a lot of people that way.
It's funny because a lot of us are still on Zoom. Like, yeah, the orientation meeting, I was actually, I also worked at the farmer's market, like at a little table, like, hey, can I tell you about mutual aid? Because I'm that kind of like busybody person. So I was at this table and this woman came up, she's like, oh yeah, hey, you oriented me, like you were my onboarding facilitator. Of course, I didn't remember her at all, but it's a small enough community that you see people like that. So yeah, I'm hoping that over time I'll make some friends. I really want to organize an in-person meetup for all the volunteers. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. We'll have to see. People are weird
Yeah.
about it with the mask thing. So, and I mean, I totally get it. Why?
Yeah.
So,
How, I started following on social media, your group of activists that went out to the pipeline. What's going
yeah.
on?
I think that action's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. My roommate actually got home last night, but she didn't say whether people are in jail or got let out on bail or so I don't know. I mean, we saw that largest numbers were arrested. I don't know if they're in jail or not. But there's another big line 3, some kind of, I think they're planning like a multi-day sit-in at some government official's house that has some role in like signing off on line 3, like what I'm hearing peripherally. So they're always trying to get creative with, who's doing what. So I was thinking of you, Dana, there's a big like direct action training on Sunday, like where you'd learn how to like get in front of a vehicle and stop it. And
Yeah, that's pretty ballsy. I mean,
yeah, so I think the target is somebody's house this time, which, I mean, they're just getting desperate. Like, who do you go after, right?
that could be really effective though. Can you imagine how annoying that would be to have a shit ton of people just basically sitting right off the edge of your property, staring at your house?
Oh, they're doing more than staring, but
Oh, I'm sure it's very loud. I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen with that.
Speaking of pipelines, Steve was just all a Twitter about a new resource he found for his movie that he's working on preventing upstream production of new virgin plastic. I'm going to put it in the chat. I haven't watched the video yet, but he described it to me.
Oh.
And it sounds absolutely friggin' amazing. It's this company out of Great Britain. Who've used ground penetrating sonar to basically look at all the sites where some of this future development is planned in Louisiana. And of course, it's all on top of old plantations where there are slave burial sites.
Oh, and so they're trying to say
like
that you can't disturb the
graves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the new front line in fighting this massive petrochemicals plant, the Formosa complex that's scheduled to go in there.
I haven't heard about this specifically, but I have heard about, trying to get different things as like protected nature reserves or historical markers or things like that to try to block things like pipelines and stuff. But wow, that's pretty intense.
My God.
So they have all this really interesting imagery that's basically telling the story of where these little documented cemeteries are. And I guess there's a federal law that you're not allowed to disturb a cemetery.
Probably.
So they're trying to pick up the resistance.
Wow. How did he find this? Was he just Googling around and stumbled on it?
Listen, the man is an investigative journalist, Dana. He's got
sorry. Sorry.
No, he's in touch with some of these frontline organizations that are opposing the development. And so he turned on to the results of this project that are now becoming available. So he's editing some of that together, getting some of the source materials.
I don't recognize the name of any of those groups, the collaborators. Maybe the Center for
Right.
International Environmental Law, CIEL, sounds a little bit familiar.
Were you looking on the? On
I'm just looking on that link. It says all the collaborators for the,
Oh, I see. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. CL is well known. I mean, you can see
Whoa.
the legal
Hmm.
dimension here. Yeah,
Oh.
so that's just.
I guess, it's just that it's like super, super local. I mean, it looks like it's a
Wow.
lot of really super local groups.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's an odd mix. What
Uh-huh.
they don't
Like the
say.
Plantation Museum and
Yeah.
Earthworks and the Louisiana Bucket Brigade.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Imperial College London is doing, what their part is. That's interesting. I mean, everything looks really local, and then you see Imperial College London.
Well, I think that's them. I think that's where the methodology was developed.
Okay.
So they have I think the way I understand it is they have a bunch of projects in this, forensic architecture or whatever they call it. So they have a number of projects where they're looking for the remains of murder victims and whatnot.
I mean, look at that date of incident, 1718 to ongoing, mind-blowing. Death Alley, Louisiana. What the fuck?
Well, the Death Alley is a reference to the chemical pollution.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at the video, I just emailed it to myself. I want to look at this in depth.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that Rise St. James group looks like a super local community just trying to keep a polluting plant out of their community.
Yeah, so those are some of the folks that he's already interviewed and spoken with, and they're all Black women, basically. All the women who go and testify, right, and talk about, of course, all of them have multiple people in their family or friendship circles who've died of these horrific cancers. And of course, they're all descendants of freed slaves, right? And so I guess there's one of many free towns in St. James's Parish, right? So the irony here that is just mind-boggling.
Whoa.
Yeah, their Facebook page looks incredible.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
really,
okay, well,
really,
obviously
yeah. Anyway,
Dana and I are intrigued.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you guys. Yeah, I'm lost. Hold on.
Her video got turned off. Okay, well, how about we get started? I need to finish my spreadsheet for my CFO.
I need to finish my corporate taxes. You and I lead such exciting lives today, Laurel. You gotta have to finish writing a job description. It just keeps getting better.
Oh, does it now?
Then I have to read the riot act to our fractional CFO. Yeah, I'll be here all day.
Wait, you had to read the riot act to the lawyers yesterday.
I know. My life is so exciting. I'm still doing the same crap, like yelling at people, only now I get paid way less. Like, it's just all wrong.
Boy, I'd like to have be a fly on the wall with some popcorn and a beer to watch you read people the riot act. That would be great. I bet you do it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to get paid? How about you make this right? That's basically the preview of my.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah. The guy you had working on it, yeah, it's not delivering.
Not working out for us.
Not working out for us.
Not
the part where
working
we
out
don't
for
get to
us.
see anything, where you keep sending us invoices, not working for us.
Okay.